Well, one of the great things about my job is that I get to travel around the country and stand up in front of audiences and wave my arms around and sort of bellow at people, and they seem to enjoy it. So I've given a large number of talks at a wide variety of locations and institutions, and so at one end you get sort of things like libraries and museums. I've given a lot of talks there, schools as well, historical and heritage societies, Burns clubs, specialist clubs and organisations. And then at the other end, I've given talks to the Ghost Club, which is the most prestigious and longest lasting paranormal investigation group in Britain. It's been going for over 150 years. I've also given talks to the Folklore Society. That's more of an academic sort of context there. And then in a sort of more slightly unusual formats, I've given talk to a pagan federation. They were a bit disappointed to learn that I wasn't a pagan, but you know, what I had to say was of interest. And I also gave a talk at a rock festival. Now that was unusual because I thought, well, it's a rock festival, I'll talk about Aleister Crowley because of his well-known links, you know, between Crowley and Led Zeppelin and other areas of sort of heavy metal and that sort of thing. So I started the talk saying I'm going to talk about Aleister Crowley, and several people got up and said, "Oh, we don't want to hear about him. He's scary." And they went away and thought, "What kind of rock fans are we breeding these days? They're just so scared that I'm just going to talk about Aleister Crowley, wimps." But that was a one-off. Generally, what I do is, you know, a bit more academic and organised than that. Well, we're now in July 2011, and Paranormal Glasgow came out about 2 weeks ago, and that's going to be followed later in the year by a kind of companion volume, The Little Book of Glasgow, which is not really paranormal, but it's sort of trivia and intriguing bits and pieces about the city. And that's then going to be followed by Haunted Dundee, which is been great fun to research. There's going to be a lot of stuff in that people from Dundee are going to find quite unexpected, because a number of popular ghosts which I've shown actually aren't real, which is not going to be very popular, but there you go. But on the other hand, I found another really amazing contemporary encounters with the supernatural. And after that, Paranormal Cumbria will be out. And that's a companion to a book that I wrote a couple of years ago called The Guide to the Mysterious Lake District. And obviously that was just on the geographical area of the Lake District. The Paranormal Cumbria contains the whole of the vast county in the northwest of England, not just the Lake District. And I already know that that's going to include stories of a vampire, a cockatrice, fairy sightings, poltergeists, big cats. So that, you know, there's lots of fun things there. And then after that, I'm going to be doing something called The Bloody History of Edinburgh, which is basically what it says on the can. Murders and massacres, and there'll probably be the odd ghost in there as well. Well, obviously when I'm researching a book, I read large numbers of other authors' works. So for pleasure, what I like to do is read something a bit different. They're connected, but don't not necessarily have a direct relevance to what I'm writing about. So at the moment, I'm reading a novel by Sophie McDougall called Rome Burning, which is a really clever idea, which is that the Roman Empire never fell. So it's present day, and Rome runs half the world. So they've got, you know, helicopters and bullet trains, but they've also got slavery and crucifixion going on at the same time. And it's a really clever idea, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm also reading a graphic novel. I've been going through Alan Moore's set of Swamp Thing, the series. So I'm at volume 6 at the moment, I think, and that's terrific. And then I'm reading a book of fictional ghost stories that are also related to writers who write about horror and that sort of thing. So, you know, that's my sort of what's on my shelf at the moment. One of the great things about being a writer is that it's about the individual, it's about you. And I'll explain what I mean by that. In many jobs, the employer isn't interested in you as the individual. They're interested in you because you're a warm body who can, you know, operate a keyboard or answer a telephone or do the job that they require. You're replaceable. Being the author, you are not replaceable. You are unique, and it's your voice that counts. So if you want to be a writer, what you work out is what you want to write about. It doesn't matter whether it's poetry or science fiction or history. It doesn't matter what it is that you want to write about, and find your own individual voice. And then just keep on ploughing that furrow until eventually someone agrees with you that you should be published. And I'll give you an example of what I meant by that. When I was trying to get published, I approached a number of companies who I thought would be the kind of publisher who would be interested in the books that I was writing. At the time, The Guide to Mysterious Perthshire. I got knocked back quite a lot, as you can imagine. One of them, they wrote back and said, "We don't think this book has any chance of being published." And I took that advice on board and completely ignored it. Because I thought, you're wrong. It does have a chance of being published, and I know it has. So I carried on and I completely ignored that advice, and I'm now on my 21st book. So I think that's the thing, is find your individual voice, what it is you want to write about. Stick to it and persevere. And if you're good, eventually someone will agree with you and they will publish you. And it's a long haul, but it's worth it.